Good morning, everyone. Welcome with this webinar on SD-WAN. I see still people are trying to log in, so I'll wait just a few moments more so that everyone has a chance to log in properly and can attend this webinar. So let's give it another minute or two, and then we start. Okay, good morning again. Welcome by this SD-WAN webinar. My name is Michael Nicolai. I'm the Senior Regional Sales Engineer for Northern Europe and Middle East region. And in the next 30 minutes, I'd like to update you on our SD-WAN solution. During the presentation, you are able to chat with me in the chat box. So there you can send me some questions in. Also, at the end of the webinar, we can have an open discussion as well. Then we open up all the channels, and then we can have a chat one-on-one if you want. I also have some handouts that you can download, some additional information on SD-WAN, and also a copy of this presentation. So thank you all for joining. Let's start with the presentation. So SD-WAN is part of our Nebula solution, and in our Nebula solution we have two options. We have our Nebula orchestrator called SD-WAN, and we have our Nebula Control Center, NCC. For Nebula Control Center, we have other webinars earlier done. If you need more information, please contact our local sales office or the distributors in your area. But for today, we are focusing on the left-hand side, the Nebula orchestrator. So SD-WAN, what is SD-WAN? SD-WAN stands for Software Defined Wide Area Network. And this technology is being developed in the beginning for more enterprise solutions to manage their infrastructure more simpler, faster, and more reliable. But the SD-WAN adoption is always been limited to enterprise segments. And that means that it was not really available for SMB market. As you know, that Zyxel is a brand that likes to adopt different technology and want to bring it into to the more affordable SMB market. So originally, the SD-WAN was being developed to reduce the overhead that was often associated with traditional methods like MPLS and Tier 1 ISP services. So that you have a fixed lease line between, let's say, two offices. One may be local and one may be very long distance. Maybe you have a head office in the US or in Japan, and you have a branch office locally in UAE or somewhere else. And then you have a dedicated line, and that dedicated line is quite expensive to have. So we offer a solution that you can use traditional internet connections to replace the MPLS connections. So enterprise, yeah, as I said, we believe that this technology should be available for everyone. So not only for enterprise services. So that's why we stepped in and we built our system. And with this system, we can approach much better customers in SMB markets, and we give them improvements in reliability and performance as well, yeah, on traditional VPN networks. So if we look at the challenges that we might see in the site-to-site VPN connections that we have now today, then we can defer them into challenges for the end user and the challenges that the VARs or the service providers are encountering. So let's list them and see what kind of challenges we have, and then we can see what kind of solutions we can bring on this. So if we start on the SMB part, that we need more and more resilience on cloud. So that means that more and more services are cloud-based. Look at Office 365, for instance. That is more and more important, that connection is there, and that is that the connection is always there. So you need reliable internet. So that means lower latency, and the lower latency is maybe not important for a regular office transfers, but maybe when you look at voice or video conferences you do, then you want to avoid that there are glitches in your video or there are stops in your voice because your connection is not stable enough. So we're trying to find a solution to have seamless video and voice on your connection. Maybe you want to have a faster WAN connectivity, because normally your LAN is quite fast, yeah, maybe 1 gig or even 10G, but then, yeah, the WAN interface is always the bottleneck in most cases. So maybe we can have some faster connectivity there as well. So that could be a challenge. And maybe we're looking for an increased level of security that we want to have between our VPN offices, so that we check on what kind of data is coming over from one side to another. Yeah, we want to check on that. And maybe we need some scalability as well. So maybe now we don't need that high of a speed, but maybe later on, when maybe applications are getting bigger or the data is getting larger, then you want to scale up. And then how can you do this? Yeah, sometimes you can increase the line speed, but maybe you need another line to get that scalability. So, and at the end, maybe you want to reduce costs because of installation and ongoing connectivity. The costs reduce you have to see in the installation regarding the VPN connections and all the policies you have to create to get all the branch offices connected to each other. So I'll show you in more detail later. So challenges for VARs can be different, yeah. because what they can do, they can try to maximize on what connectivity is available. So you have to look at the customer sides and see what's there. Yeah, maybe it's only DSL connections that are available, or maybe also fiber or a mix, or maybe other kinds of connections you can create to the internet to improve your speed or the number of connections. And then maybe you might need some more easy control over it in a complete overview, not only maybe with one organization, but with multiple organizations. What we have more, yeah, reduced complexity, especially complex routing. I'll show you some examples later on. Remove bottlenecks from client networks. That means that if you have a head office, that maybe all the traffic is moving through the head office, and then the head office can become a bottleneck because all the data is going through that specific site. So maybe that's something we want to resolve. And maybe we want to simplify network diversity, yeah, to use any kind of connections that I might have on the site, yeah. So LTE or DSL or lease line or any mix that we might have can you can put into the system. And last but not least, we gain control how the traffic is shaped. So we can say, okay, this kind of application will have this amount of bandwidth in the VPN over another type of application. So those are some challenges for both end users or SMBs as for VARs that we're trying to solve or to make life easier with our SD-WAN solution. So let's give you some examples. Yeah, if we look at the traditional VPN networks. So traditional, you build up a site to site and you do a VPN manually to each site. And to check the connectivity between them in our traditional VPN, you can only see if the connection is alive or that the port is up or that the link is there. But you can't see if what is the quality of the connection. So is it really fast? Is it taking the full amount of speed that you have on your connection? So the connection you can check, but not on the quality. And how about the traffic you want to manage between the two sites? Maybe you want to prioritize voice or video over data, or even within data, you want to prioritize this. So how can we do this? So go to the next slide. We see here that the complexity is getting larger when the number of VPN connections is getting more and more. And even the head office or the hub, as we see it here on the right hand side, can be a configuration issue, because we need to move the traffic. If you want to have traffic from the office in the north of the UK to the south, then you have to create routing rules on the hub to make sure that this communication goes through to the headquarter. And the more clients or the more offices we put in, then you might end up with a big choke point, yeah, in the middle, because all the traffic from all the branch offices need to move through the choke point, through the bottleneck. And that's something we might want to resolve, you know. So maybe we want to resolve the choke point so that the traffic that has to come from Italy to the UK, that it not go over the main hub, but we put that traffic directly from one office to another to make sure that the hub will not be overloaded. So that's something we can put in, of course, but the complexity of this routing is getting more and more. So it's not only the connection you have to the head office or to the hub, the choke points, but also all the connections to all the different branch offices. So if we want to remove that, then we can create each individual line to each unit. But how about the load balancing? Because maybe you don't want to rely on just one connection. Nowadays, people take a fast connection and take a secondary connection, maybe with some slower speed. The primary connection can be a fiber or a coaxial, and then you take a secondary connection, maybe that's DSL or LTE, and then we can, of course, move from one line to another. So if one line is degraded, then we can move to the other one. So that's something we can do to create a backup like this. So the primary is degraded, and then we can move to the other one. So there are some tools in SD-WAN, some features that can help you on this. First of all is the installation of your SD-WAN router. The only thing you have to do locally is connect your SD-WAN router to the internet. And when it's connected, then you can configure the router from our orchestrator platform. Of course, to connect our firewall or gateway to the internet, it can be really easy. If you get DHCP from your provider, then you get automatically a link and then the device is connected. But it could be that you need to authenticate, or you have a fixed IP from your provider, and you have to put in first. So we can do easy installation so that the admin can prepare the configuration up front and can send the configuration up to the local office, put the configuration on a USB stick, and then the first time the gateway will boot and we'll use the first configuration out of the USB stick just to connect your firewall, your gateway to our SD-WAN orchestrator. So that's the zero touch provisioning. Then we have dynamic path selection. So we can see and monitoring the quality of the line, and then we can move accordingly. Also, what we can do is we can do one optimization. So that means that we replace the original TCP/IP to a much faster protocol, and that protocol can only be read by our firewalls to optimize the WAN connectivity. I will show you in a bit what it can bring you. Of course, on the security side, we offer content filtering. So we can check on the URLs that are being typed in, and we can track that. And if you want, can block certain sites as well. Then app intelligence is part of the SD-WAN solution. So we can identify over 3,000 protocols and applications, and we can prioritize those applications within the VPN connection. And last but not least, we do dynamic mesh VPN. That means that if we want to have a temporary connection between two branch offices, we can establish that. I will show you in a bit how that works. So with these kind of features and options, we can create a better VPN connection. So in this case, we have Nebula Orchestrator, and in this side-to-side connection, we have an optimized connection between UK and Italy in this case, and we can optimize the bandwidth on this connection. So what we see here is that we can if the line is degraded, then automatically, it moves to the second line that's available. So that's the failover and the best path we can select when one line is degrading. And not only degrading or not completely fail, but it can be that the connection speed is very slow. So the quality of the connection can be measured, and based on that, we can move to another line. So then the traffic is moved to the best path. So that application is moved from one line to another, but without noticing for any user that's in the network. So, and when the original line gets better again, then it can move back as well. So it checks both lines continuously and always takes the most optimized line to give the best performance and the best experience. So it will dynamically establish a direct connection, and in this case, this is the dynamic VPN we can do. So if there is a big load of data that doesn't want to flow over the choke point, so in the headquarters, then we can create a temporary connection directly from one office to another. And if that traffic is stopped, then the connection will be removed as well. So it's a temporary connection to make sure that the headquarter will not be overloaded. And then you can do the transfer directly from one to another. And with this dynamic connection is established, all the routings are changed, of course, to make sure that the data is flowing over that new VPN connection. So this is the management of the VPN itself. We can also optimize your data transfer on the line. And to show you this, we did an example, and we transferred a 1.9 gig file from Germany to our headquarters in Taiwan. And in the standard VPN connection, it took 2 hours and 40 minutes to move over that file from one office to another. But when we enabled the SD-WAN optimization on the same line, so the line is never changed, the transfer time reduced to only 10 minutes. So from 300 kilobits per second, we went to 24 megabits per second. So that is a 50 times faster performance. So you see that we check on the quality of the line. We check the packet loss, the jitter, and based on that, we can optimize your line speed. So how can we manage this? So the management is a multi-tier management. It's a 3-level topology. So that means that we have a group level, and in the group level, we can put all the admins in. And the admins can be related to the organizations or the sites underneath. So the group is you as a MSP. The orgs are your customers. And the sites are the sites within that customer. And then you can build the VPNs within the same organization from site to site. So that's the whole idea. And because we know when we install the gateway or the firewall locally, and we have all the IP numbers in each individual firewall gateway, it's easy to make the VPN connections. You can only say this network needs to connect to this network. And then on the back end, the system creates all your firewall rules, all your policy rules. So also the security you have access to. Not only your firewall rules, but also you have extra security on GeoEnforcer. So that means that you can get out of data that's coming from certain regions or certain countries. so that you can take out, or the content filtering, or the application control to bandwidth management on your data that's coming through your VPN. The products that we have today are dual firmware. That means that when you buy the product, that the product works as a standalone product, as many people use before in our Zyxel series or our USG or ATP series, that you can configure your firewall gateway manually on premises and make the standard IPsec VPNs between your offices. That is how you get your product in. But we have an option to move to another firmware that's inside your box that will enable you this SD-WAN functionality. And which is an SD-WAN functionality, you can register the product, and that enables you to have the management on that product from our platform. As I said, it is very easy to install the product, because the administrator can just ask the local branch office to connect to the internet and will provide the minimum setting that's needed to connect to the internet, and can offer this setting on over email, SMS, or on USB. Then this data, when it's stored on the USB, it can put in, and then the first time you boot up, it will check the minimum configuration that's needed to the connection, and then when it's connected to our platform, then automatically the platform takes over the provisioning and does all the settings. So connecting the sites is really easy. So we just say this network from this branch needs to connect to this branch, and then automatically everything is created. So that's being done site to site. But how about client to site? So what if people want to connect locally? So the employees from a branch wants to connect to the VPN. That's also still possible. Then we can manage that also from the orchestrator. So the orchestrator can hold a database of all the employees, and the employees can log in locally to their local firewall to have the connection to the office network. So the client is also very easy to put in. So if you have any Windows or Mac OS or iOS or even Android, it's also possible. Then you can connect very easily to the local gateway firewall. The products that we offer for these solutions at the moment, we have 3 products available as of today. And we have 3 products: VPN 50, 100, 300. It comes with a 1-year license to give you the optimized functionality on the SD-WAN. When you choose your product, please check on your firewall speed, and make that as a reference. And based on that, use that product in your office. So traditionally, what we see is that the branch offices are using a VPN 50 or 100, and the main office, I have to say, takes a VPN 300 because that has had the highest performance. So that you can install on the customer side, and then those devices will connect to the orchestrator, and the orchestrator will do the provisioning to your products. So what comes in with the license? Because as I said, the product comes with a 1-year license, and the 1-year license will give you the orchestrator, of course, the dynamic path selection, the WAN optimization, the content filtering, the geo enforcer, that is all included. The zero touch provisioning, auto VPN, the monitoring, storage, and monitoring data. Only there's a difference. As long as the license is there, then you leverage from all the features that are listed on the right hand side. But if your license is expiring after 1 year, we don't disconnect you from everything. No, everything will continue running. Only the optimization and the dynamic path selections and the additional security with content filter and geo enforcing is being switched off. So then you don't have the high performance VPN anymore. You drop down to standard IPsec connectivity. So the connectivity is still there, only it's not optimized. Yeah, you see that the frequency that we update your monitoring page is being reduced, and also the monitoring data is changed from 30 days to 1 day, but still you have access to the platform. So this is a great solution if you want to optimize your VPN connections into a much higher level. Yeah, you can also call it super VPN or a high performance VPN, especially if you are dealing with a lot of branch offices. So this concludes my presentation on SD-WAN. As I said, in let's say 30 minutes, I can talk you in to this technology. If you want, we can have some Q&A. I haven't seen any questions in the questions or in the chat. So let me open up the channels. So if you have any question, yeah, just unmute yourself and please give me your name and then give me your question, and then maybe I can answer that. So is there anyone within the attendees that have some questions on SD-WAN? Of course, in the handouts, don't forget the handouts. There's a leaflet and also a copy of this presentation available, so you can download it from the handout. Anyone? Is there anyone with questions? Please unmute yourself and let me hear your question.
Yeah, Michelle, Sip here from Oxygen. Actually, I wanted to know. Yeah.
Yes.
I wanted to know about the failover you were telling last time, like, you know, when the main line is not working, okay, it will automatically go to the second line.
Yeah.
Whatever the. So when the main line is back, basically it's working fine. Will it automatically go back to the main line, or we need to do any configuration for something?
No. It's automatically, it takes the most optimized line. So it continues to check on the line, and when the better line is available, it already moves back. But the main difference between this VPN and the traditional VPN is that with traditional VPN, we can only check if the connection is there. We cannot tell anything about the quality of the line. So it could be that when you have two connections, that even the slower connection could be in practice more efficient and more stable than your primary one. So it's not only checking on the availability of the channel of the VPN connection, but also checks on the maximum performance of the different ones. So and based on that, it can switch over.
Okay. So what is the frequency when it checks normally? Automatically it checks like after 1 minute, or what is the frequency?
We are continuing checking the quality. And then,
okay, continuously. Okay.
Yeah, and the user itself, it doesn't notice anything that the line is switched from one to another. So.
Tell me about the licenses as well. Tell us about the licensing for this. What
Yeah,
are
the license.
Only the 1 year?
Yeah, when you buy the product and you move into the SD-WAN functionality, because the basic functionality is local VPN, yeah, without the SD-WAN functionality. So you have to manually switch over from the standalone to the orchestrator one. And then when you register yourself, from that time you have a 1-year license to have the SD-WAN functionality. And of course, you are notified upfront, saying your license will be expired or not, and then you have to take another license for another year. Yeah.
Great,
Any other
thank you.
questions? Any other question?
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. Hi. This is Ahmed.
Yes.
I missed the voice a little bit ago because I didn't hear the question of the guy. I'm not sure if I'm repeating the same question. We're talking about the redundancy. If you remember the example between UK
Yes.
and Italy,
Yeah.
going through Copenhagen or going through Denmark. If you remember that example itself.
Yeah.
What is the feed time in going between line 1 and line 2? And how do I feel it as an end user or as a user of the service? Do I feel it? Is it slow? Is it
No, as a
slow?
user, you don't notice if it's being switched.
Okay.
The orchestrator is continuously checking what is the better line, and
Okay.
according to that, we will switch from one to another. So the user itself won't notify or won't notice anything from this.
Okay.
So
The user itself
it's
won't.
seamless. It's seamless.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. No problem. No problem. Thank you so much. Any other with questions on SD-WAN as we have it today? Anyone? Okay, I don't see any questions coming through. Oh yeah, Sip.
Yes, it's
Yes.
already done. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you everyone for attending. As I said, don't forget about the handouts. There's a copy of this presentation and a leaflet as well. So please download that for your reference. And once again, thank you for joining. And if you have any other questions, use the email address or get in touch with our local sales office. So thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you.